So I want to go ahead and start talking about the homework I'm going to assign you for Chapter 8. So in Chapter 8, we've learned about arrays and two-dimensional arrays. So the homework for this is actually going to be a little more involved because I'm actually going to have you use a GUI and make a Tic Tac Toe game. So I'm going to design the GUI and I'm going to implement the basics of it. And then it's up to you to put all the logic behind this GUI. Okay, so we think about the way we want this laid out is you have we have our GUI right here. Okay, and up here you have a title bar, and then you have like the close, or it's over here depending on like what operating system you're using. Okay, so in this game we're gonna have perhaps like a title up here, kind of like a message of like kind of what's going on, you know, like it's X's turn or it's O's turn, you know, that type of thing. And I want you to track wins, losses, ties, and number of games played. Okay, so you can track how many games are played, how many were ties, how many losses, and the ties and all that. So we're gonna actually save this off to a file. Okay, so let me just write this out. Save to file, and I don't know what I was thinking when I was doing the writing out the S on save. Okay, so you're gonna have like, you know, how many wins they have, how many losses they have, ties, and then like the total number of the games they've played over the lifetime of this application. Okay, so when you close it and reopen it, like this should be updated. Okay, so this is gonna be a single player game. So you're gonna have to make some AI behind this. And that's kind of like where the fun comes in, is because you're gonna have to think about where you want to place the X's, you know, like exactly. I want you to make your AI a little smart to where it's not just randomly choosing. Maybe you have like different modes for the AI and we can adjust it. But like I want you to actually put some thought about like what has been selected and where you're gonna place the next, like where you're gonna place your O. So the game board is going to be right here, and it's essentially just going to be 9 buttons. And what's going to happen is the user is going to just, you know, click on a button like he wants to put the X there. Okay. Then it's going to be the AI's turn. The AI is going to have to determine what's been selected and then where to place the next, you know, the next one. So maybe the first iteration, you just randomly select something that hasn't been picked already, and then AI places O right there. And then this player is going to say, okay, well, I'm put the X over here. Okay, then the AI is going to randomly select, and you know, it's going to make something, do a dumb decision. Maybe put the O right here in this spot right here. Okay, but as like that should be like the first iteration, is just kind of getting this working. And then I want you to start thinking, okay, well, maybe on the 4th turn, you check to see if the X can win anywhere. And if you can win right here, then that's where you want to put the O. You know, like you can actually put some logic behind this to make it think about where you want to place that O. And you can make this really difficult by just always forcing this to a tie unless X does something to trick you into, you know, winning the game. I know there's certain ways to do that, but I'm not really that great of a tic-tac-toe player. Okay, and maybe have an option to where once the game is over, there's a button that shows on here to play again, right? To hit play again, then like you clear the board. Okay, but as soon as he gets that loss or that win, he just updates these values over here. All right, and I kind of think that is it. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I want to do. It would be fun to like maybe add another option to where it's just player versus player. If it's player versus player, then perhaps you don't need to save to a file, but I do want his data saved, like if he's playing the AI. I think player versus player would be kind of cool to do too, but I need to think about how we're going to do that before I decide, because we're probably going to need some option somewhere to where we, you know, ask them like what mode do they want to play in, like player versus the AI or player versus player. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and get this started for you guys. I already have. Let me hold on, let me set this board up real quick. Okay, so I already started an IntelliJ project, okay, and it's just the basics so far. I created a project called GUI.tic-tac-toe and then launcher, and then I just, inside of this driver class, I extend the application class called launch, and then we're going to use this tic-tac-toe pane. The tic-tac-toe pane is where we're going to put all our logic and like basically the entire pane. So I'm going to hit create class, I'm going to hit OK, and this is where everything is going to go. Now, the thing that we need to think about though is what exactly do we need to make this happen? So from everything that everything that we've learned through the GUI examples that I've done so far, I kind of feel that we can use, like the main one we can use is, let me adjust this really quick. The main one we can use, the main pane, is to use an HBox this way, or you have this in the HBox, this, oh, actually, can I undo that? I don't know. Let me use a different color. This inside of the HBox, and then this control section. So you're gonna have like a header, the middle section, and then the footer, pretty much in an HBox. And then instead of the header, we can have a pane that is either just a label. Like, I don't know if we're going to add anything else. We can probably just make one label and just put it, the first component in there. But here is going to be this particular, in the middle is going to be a VBox, okay, for these two. And then this is going to be another HBox. And then this is going to be the grid pane that we used in one of the examples. Like the grid pane is going to go like right here. And then down here, I'm not sure, depending on our options right here, maybe I'll just leave this up to you guys to create. But I want to get some of this started for you guys so the logic is there and you don't feel so overwhelmed having to make this the actual GUI. And then like really you're going to be focused on making the logic work and maybe doing like a few GUI updates to kind of put your own style onto this, okay? So let me go ahead and go back to the IntelliJ project and get this started. Okay, so like I said, the example that I just gave you, I'm thinking that this should just be an HBox, okay? Because it's going to have the header, the footer, or the header, the middle section, and the footer, okay? And I don't actually know at the moment, excuse me, I don't actually know at the moment what should be instance data, except for I know we're going to need to know the buttons, right? So we're going to have buttons, and it's actually going to be an array of buttons, and it's going to be the, I don't know, Tic Tac Toe buttons, okay? And that's going to be this is going to be a two-dimensional array of 3 by 3. Okay, so this is actually, that should be done like that. All right, that's going to be the harder thing to do. I'll probably do that for you guys. I should probably do that. So, okay, so I know we're going to need to make that because we're going to need to access those buttons to see the status of the game. We're going to need to know also, we're going to have labels for the wins and the losses, okay? So for GUI components that we need, we're going to have the tic-tac-toe buttons, and then we're going to have labels, okay? And then let me make this private. Okay, so some of the labels that we're going to need, let me import this class. Okay, some of the labels we're going to need is and we'll just call it the header label. Header label, it's going to be, header label is going to be what we have up top, like basically the message that we show up top. Okay, the other labels, we're going to have the win label, the loss label, tie label, and then number of games played label. So we have the header label, win label, losses label, ties label, and we'll say like num of games label. All right, so we have those labels, and then we also going to have we're definitely going to need a button at some point, like a play again button, and that play again button is essentially just going to pop up whenever the game's over. Okay, whenever you detect if the game is over. Okay, so you're going to have some logic here, and the logic is going to be for each game. You're going to have like you're going to have like, well, you have some logic, and you're going to have some data that you're going to have to track for this, right? So you already know that you're going to have your wins, your losses, your ties, number of games played. Okay, let me make this private. Okay, and the logic that you're going to involve is at some point you're going to determine if the game is a game over, and we can do that with the method number of games over, or games over, number of games. Let's see what other things that we need for data. The turn. Okay, so turn, because like the first turn is going to be like the first turn is going to be an X, the second turn is going to be an O, right? There's actually like 9 turns that you can do. So the X actually gets more turns, right? Because there's 9, and he gets 5 of the 9, I believe, and O would get is that true? 9. Yeah, I think it's true. Yeah, it is true. Okay, so O would get 4 turns. So the data you need to track is wins, losses, ties, number of games played, and the turn, meaning like the count of turns for this particular game. Okay, the one that's actually in progress. Okay, so that's the information I need so far. I'll add to this if I think as I'm going through this and I feel like I missed something. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our constructor. Okay, so in this constructor, what we're going to do is we're going to initialize. I like initializing my data first. So you're going to have I'm going to want you to pull this information from a file, right? So you're going to have a method that says set data that you're going to invoke. Oops, I put set date. Okay, and then over here we're going to say public void. Actually, maybe it should probably be private. Private void set data, and what this is going to do is read a file for data, and that's going to be the wins, losses, ties, number of games. Like all that is going to be inside of a file that you're going to save to. Okay, and after every game, you're going to save the data to the file so that it gets recorded. Okay, so you're going to read. Yeah, all right, perfect. You can do that. And then what we're going to do is I'll just put to do. Read file. Okay, and then says if file can't be read, set data. Okay, and we'll just set everything to 0. I mean, it's already going to be set to 0 because that's just what Java does. Is any integer by default is just going to be 0. But we'll just go ahead and do it just for good measure. Okay, so if we can't read the data, we'll just say that everything is 0. Either this is the very first time he's playing the game, or for some reason the file got corrupted, so we don't know, his number of ties and all this stuff. And turn should always be set to 0 for every time you start a new game, So this is always going to be set to 0. Actually, we should probably even do turn inside of here. Okay. All right. So that's what we're going to do is we're going to set the data. We're going to get all that data. And then we're going to reset. Reset board. Okay. So reset board is going to, we're going to call this every time we start a new game, but it's essentially going to make all of this, like the O's and the X's, it's going to get rid of all of it so that it's empty. So it's going to reset, definitely reset the buttons inside of the Tic Tac Toe game and the number of turns. And yeah, maybe update this message to like X's turn or, something. Okay. So let's hop back over here. Okay. So reset board. Or actually, we'll change this to reset game. Okay. So reset game. Now, before we actually reset this game, we should probably instantiate some of these GUI objects, because we're definitely going to need the number of number of games. We're definitely going to need the header label and the tic-tac-toe buttons to be instantiated, because we're going to manipulate that data. Okay, so we're going to do in this constructor, we could probably just do it up here, is let's just go ahead and instantiate some of this stuff. So I'm going to say tic-tac-toe buttons is going to be equal to new button, and this is, we're going to put in the 3 and 3. Okay, so I made the array. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to fill this array with button objects. So I'm just going to say like 4 int, and then we'll do column is equal to 0. Let's do C and R for column and row. Column is equal to 0. Okay, and then while C is less than 3, C plus plus. So we enter in the columns and then we enter into the rows. And then we'll do R plus plus. Okay, and then what we're going to do is essentially just say tic-tac-toe, and then whatever C is, whatever R is, and then we'll just say it's a new button. And it's going to be blank to begin with. Yeah. It'll be blank to begin with. Actually, no, you know what, we should do all of this. And do we run do we want to? Okay, well, I'm thinking we should probably move all this to the reset game, but here we're actually instantiating the objects, and we don't, I guess it would be a bad practice to instantiate the objects every single time we play a new game. So the only time we really want to instantiate these objects is the very first time the pane is being instantiated. So we'll go ahead and instantiate them here, and maybe like set some values for some of this stuff. So for instance, we probably want these buttons to be big. So let's go ahead and just set the font size to, we'll do like a new font, and we'll just go with, I don't know, 36, something big. Okay, and maybe like do a preferred size. Preferred, give a preferred height. Let's do preferred width. Okay, I don't know how big this is going to be, but let's just go with preferred width of 64 for now. I don't know what that's going to look like. Okay, so I'm instantiating these buttons. I'm putting it into this two-dimensional array. And like this is where we're going to be whenever we instantiate these. Yeah. And then in the reset game, now I'm trying to debate if we should even do this the first time in our constructor. I mean, we definitely need a method to reset the game. And what that is going to do, because whenever like they want to play again, they're going to want to reset this game. So what this is going to do is essentially it's going to do this, what we do here, except this objects inside of this array have already been instantiated. So we don't need to like put a new button. We already know that the button exists here. We could just do like set text and then empty it out. We don't need to do any of this other stuff, right? Like that, to me, that would be a reset on these buttons here. Like if it's O and X, like it's going to go through all of them and make them all blank. Okay. The other thing that you would want to do on a reset is make the turn 0 and then take your label, your header label, and like, you know, if it's 0, if turn 0, then you already know, you know, say like X's turn. Click button to choose spot or to take spot. Okay. And that would be what our header label would do. Like to me, that's what we do like on our reset game. We'll just go ahead and use it. All right, and we need to make this header label, else it's going to, we're gonna run into like a null pointer exception. So we need to do the header label before we call that reset game. And the header label is gonna be blank, but we do want to set the font for this. And we'll just do like 24, something kind of big. Maybe that's too big. I don't know yet. I mean, we'll see when we get all this working. Okay, we'll just like position everything after we see what this actually looks like. Okay, so I set the data, I reset the game. Now I'm ready to kind of position everything. Okay, so by positioning everything, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, so I have my header. So basically I'm gonna add, I already have my header, so I already have this done. Now I need to make this stuff right here. So all of this is gonna go into a grid pane. Okay. And we should probably do this inside of that array. I forgot exactly how to do this because it was like a few examples ago. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a grid pane and get set alignment. And I'll just call this one grid pane. And grid pane is going to be equal to new grid pane. It's going to be empty for now, but I should be adding like all of the stuff to it. But what I'm going to do is do this. I believe I can just do grid pane dot. Oh, I can add. Perfect. So I can add column index, row index. Okay, so this is what we're going to have to do inside of here is add each one of these components. And I want to say the column and the row. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so I'm going to add it all there. And I don't think I need to mess with the alignment, but I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Set alignment position center. Okay, so that looks, I believe that is good. Okay, I want to see what this actually looks like. So I want to go ahead and add this and run this program before I add anything else. So I have my grid pane. I added these components. So I'm currently using a horizontal box. So what I'm going to do for now is down here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just say like, what's it, get children. and then add all, and the header is going to go first, and then I'm going to go ahead and just add my grid pane next, even though my grid pane should probably go into a VBox with my wins and my losses. I just want to see what this looks like. I'm excited to see so far. So we'll come over here, run the program. And this is what it looks like. Okay. X's turn. Okay, so it looks like my width needs to be a little bigger. I'm not really sure like what's going on with it being pushed off to the side. I thought I used a horizontal box. This should have been centered. I don't know. Okay, so let's try to fix some of this alignment. I wanted the header to be aligned inside. So header, set alignment. I don't know if that's going to do anything, but let's see. Okay, so it doesn't do anything. Oh, okay, I think I understand. I need to set the alignment here on this object, on this Tic Tac Toe Pane object. All right, let's see what that looks like. Okay, looks awesome, except I probably used the wrong. No, I didn't use horizontal box. Oh, I want to use vertical box because I want to go up and down. I'm sorry. I wish, this is why I wish I was doing this in the classroom. Somebody would have caught me before I made all those mistakes. So, oh, shoot, Control X. Okay, so let me run this again. Okay, that actually looks much better, I think. Okay, I mean, it's starting to look like what we envisioned over here. Okay, so we have those. I don't like that this 64 looks like. So let's just set the preferred width to well, let's go with the full 100. Okay, that looks a little more boxy, except maybe it's like a little too boxy. So just let me do the height the same. So set the preferred width. Let me set the preferred height. Okay, I think that looks like pretty good for like squares, right? So you can see that we're going to click one, take the spot, then the AI is going to choose a spot. Okay, but now I need to put my information over here on the side. Okay, so the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to have all these different labels, like these labels up here. So let me go ahead and do that. So set my data, reset the game. Then I believe right here is where I can set stat labels. Okay, so I have my wins label. My wins is going to be whatever my wins is. Okay. Okay, so I have my wins, losses, ties. Okay, and over here, it's gonna update these variables, games, ties, losses. All right. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Probably need to set a font for that, like a size or something, but we'll leave it blank for now. And this, all of this is going to go into a horizontal box. So wait, horizontal box, vertical box. So I'm gonna say VBox, and I'll say stats box is equal to new VBox, and then I'll just pass these in. And then we're going to set the alignment. So we want it centered, but we probably want it centered and to the right, since it's going to be on the left. So it's like kind of pushed up against the box, right? And then we're going to go ahead and, oh, we need to set some type of gapping here, or spacing here. So there's space. So for now, we'll just set spacing to 10. We'll see what that looks like. And then we need to make an H box. And the H box is going to be the pretty much like, so the H box is going to be the middle. So what's in blue? See, I put V box over here. I was so confused. H box, V box. If I would have done this in class, somebody would have corrected me. So this actually going down would be the V box, and going across would be the H box. Okay, so H box is going to be the body, I guess, or the middle. We'll just say like the middle box, I guess. I mean, can't think of anything better. Okay, and that's going to take in the stat box and the grid pane that we did. Okay, and I misspelled middle. Okay, and we'll go ahead and set the spacing to 20. All right, and we'll pass in the middle box where we passed in the grid pane. All right, let's see what this looks like. It looks pretty good, I'd say. We probably need some spacing on this side of it. We probably need like some padding or something. This here, I have it centered. I don't know. Maybe we'll give this H box preferred width, and so it takes up a little bit of space. So I said H box, I meant V box. So the stat box, we'll give it like a preferred width. Okay, and we'll just say 200. Let's see what that looks like. Dang, that's too much. All right, so 100. Wait a minute. If that was 200, then my buttons just are not what they say they are. Okay, that looks a little better. I mean, we probably could use some spacing around these things. Okay, so it's actually looking pretty good in my opinion. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to set up the events so that whenever we click on one of these buttons, okay, we get like it triggers an event, and we put an X in that spot, and then we can let our AI take the next turn. Okay, so part of this GUI stuff that I want you to do is I want you to make this look nicer. Like maybe move this higher, maybe make this a little bolder, change the font styles. Just do something like put your own, your own design into it. Okay, so I think that looks good. All right, so what we need to do is set up an event whenever we click one of these buttons. So we're going to do this right here. Tic Tac Toe buttons, C, R, and man, we have to be smart about this though. We have to be really smart about this, because the reason why I say we have to be smart about this is because we want to place an X inside of what was clicked. Or no. Okay, I got it. Never mind. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the action. So set the action, set on action. And we'll say this, and then we'll say do button action. Okay, and I'm gonna come over here and create method. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say, okay, we have a button at event dot get source. Great, but what's going on? Oh, God. Okay, so we'll say like clicked btn, and then we have a button at event dot get source. Okay, we know this is a button because that's where we put these events at. So we can cast this to a button. Okay, if you want to play it safe, you can do if instance of and make sure it's actually a button before we cast it. Okay, but we know that's a button. Okay. If the button clicked, okay, if we get the text and the length of the text is greater than 0, then we know that there's something already there. We know we can ignore this event. Okay, so meaning like the button wasn't empty, so we can just like return out of this method pretty much. Right, if that makes sense. Right, so okay, and then we're gonna say, so like pretty much if there's already an X there, already an O there, then clicking a button is not going to do anything, and we can just leave the method pretty much. Okay, but if you make it this far, then what we can do is check to see whose turn is it. Okay, so the way we're going to do that is we have to use that count, right? Just turn over here. Yeah, I called it turn. We're going to have to use turn to figure out whose turn it is. So if the turn is even, then we know it's X's turn. If it's odd, then we know that it is, then we know that it's O's turn. Okay, so what we're gonna do is this. We're gonna do so. Let me think about this. So, okay, if actually we're gonna use the AI for this, but I'm gonna put this logic in anyway. So I'll say count divided by, oh, it wasn't count, dang it, sorry for confusing everybody. So it's actually turn. So if the turn, if you divide the turn by 2 and the remainder is 0, this means currently X's turn. Okay, the else case would be currently O's turn. Okay, so if it's currently X's turn, okay, then what we're gonna do is place an X in that spot. Okay, so we can just say, actually we can do this. We'll say string, and we'll say place. Okay, we'll say place X, place O. Actually, I don't think I need to initialize this because it's going to be one or the other. So I can leave that uninitialized. It should be okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'll say like set, I'll get the click button, dot set text, place, and then I'll increment the turn. Okay, perfect. Okay, so basically you click the button. If you're able to actually place something there, then you're going to increment the turn, and it's going to know to put the X or the O. Like, this is going to actually work pretty nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. Okay, so now when I click a button, I put an X. The next button I click is going to be an O. Okay, if I click an X or an O, there's something there, so it's not actually doing the count, right? That turn knows like whose turn it is, right? So the first turn was at 0, and then you place. Now it's turn 1. Turn 1, you divide by 2, then it knows it's O's turn. So the next button I click should be an X. All right, next one will be an O. Next one will be an X. Next one will be an O. X, O. Okay, so this is actually pretty neat. Okay, so at this point, like the game's over and nobody won. Okay, so this is where we have to start thinking about the type of logic that we're going to put into this. So at this point, we need to like reset the game or determine if there's a loser. Okay, so the logic, this is the beauty of GUIs, is like all the logic is happening in the events. Okay, so this do button action is like where everything's taking place. So right here, what we did, if spot taken, okay, we exit method, do nothing. Okay, spot not taken. Okay, this is where we do our logic. We find out which turn we're on, and then we do our logic. Okay, so like the beauty of Tic Tac Toe is nobody can ever win until like the 5th turn, I believe, right? So there's 1 turn, 2 turns, 3 turns, 4 turns, 5th turn. Okay, so on the 5th turn is when you need to start checking for a winner and see if you need to stop the game. Okay, one of the other things I just realized that we didn't do is we didn't update the header label. So header label, and we can just say something like set text, and we'll just do a string dot format, and then we'll just do %s, and then pass in place. Okay, so let me just run this really quick. I just want to make sure that works. So I'm just trying to update what's up here. X's turn. Oh damn, I screwed that up. O's turn. X's turn. Okay. Mess it up. Okay, so basically when you get to this part, it's going to be the other person's turn. So let me think about the easiest way to do this. So that's what we're going to place, but then this label is going to be, okay, we could do this. We could just do count. We could just use the same logic right here. We do the ternary operator where we say, okay, if it's that, then this, else this. Meaning if you're even at this point, because you just incremented the turn, actually, okay, so you have to actually increment the turn before you update your header, but you just incremented your turn, and now you're going to put determine if you need to put an X or an O like that. Okay, so we're going to run this. X, now O's turn, X's turn. Cool. All right, perfect. Okay, so we incremented. Okay, so now it's so on the 6th turn, before you take your 6th turn, is when we have to start checking for a winner. So we'll do this, like if turn is equal to, actually is greater or equal to 5, meaning it's the 6th turn, then to do check for winner. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to start checking for a winner. All right, and we can do that with the method like something like if winner Okay, so if there is a winner, then what we're going to do is stop game. Okay, so the way this is going to work is you're going to make this method called isWinner, and I'm just going to highlight this, go to create method isWinner, and the way you check to see if there's a winner, there's actually like a lot of logic behind this. You got to check you basically have to look at your array, and this is something that you're going to have to do. So check the Tic Tac Toe, I already forgot what I named it. You basically have to go through this and check to see if there's a winner by looking at all the buttons and seeing if you have a winner diagonally, horizontally, all of that. Okay, and that's like where the chapter 8 stuff comes into play, that you're gonna have to do this. Okay, but let's just say there is a winner, so I'm just gonna return true. Okay, if there is a winner, then like down here we can say whoever's turn it currently is, like whatever we place down, we can just say, hey, we should actually, okay, so there's actually a lot of things we got to do. I'm going to go ahead and move this header right there to the bottom, because we don't really want to place that down unless there's not a winner. Okay, so because we're like, once we come into here, if you win, we're basically gonna, if there is a winner, at some point we're gonna return, we're gonna exit out of this method, and we're gonna stop the game, and we're gonna do something like set the header text. Right, we're gonna come over here and we're gonna set the header text, and we're just gonna say, we're just gonna like mention that somebody won. We'll say like whatever character won, and that character would be whatever it is that we placed. Okay, so I have this set to true as soon as it checks. So like once we go over 5 turns, it's just gonna say that person won. Okay, and I think like X is always the 5th turn, so X should always win. So it doesn't even matter if somebody really wins, but like this next turn, X won, right? And only because if you look at this method I made, is winner, like you're determining like if they won, you're gonna have to come over here and go through the array to determine like who won. Okay, and like who you need to check is actually, you could probably pass, like, you know, let's pass in, actually we'll change the name of this. We'll say check if won. Okay, and we'll pass in a string, and the string would be like the whoever's turn it was, or the character. I don't know what to name this. We'll just call this one player. Okay, the player would be the X or the O. I have no idea what to name that, but you're gonna just basically like look through your buttons and like check diagonally if this string is in like determined diagonally or horizontally. I think diagonal is probably like the easiest one to check, right? So you gotta check the buttons. Like the first one you're gonna do is check all rows horizontally. Check all rows vertically, or excuse me, all columns vertically. Basically, you're going to check to see if you have any winners in those columns, like vertically, like up and down. So you're going to check to see if there's winners across, or like across the rows, or down and up through the columns, and then check diagonal. There's 2 diagonal ones that you need to check, right? So the 2 diagonal ones that you're going to check is going to be this way, right? Which is gonna be the 0, 0 thing. So 0, 0, this would be 1, 1, and this would be 2, 2. Yeah. And then the other way would be to check this way, which is going to be at the 0, 2, right? Could we do columns first? Yes, columns first. So 0, 2. Then, so this would be 0, 2, 1, 1, and 2, 0. Like those are the two diagonals you're going to check. And it's actually pretty easy. I can probably just make up one of these checks for you. So we can actually return this. Like, so if you make it here, you return false, right? But what you're going to do is just do something like, okay, well, if, you know, player, like a diagonal check would be super, super easy. If player dot equals, okay, so that's a string. So if it equals whatever we have at Tic Tac Toe at, the diagonal we're gonna check is the easy one, which is 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. So we're gonna say 0, 0 dot get text. Okay, and we're gonna use this again. Did I close that too soon? Oh no, I didn't. Okay, and okay, if the characters match in all these three spots, the 0, 0, the 1, 1, and the 2, 2 spot, that means that they won diagonally. That means like they won. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. That means they won going this way. Dang it. Where are you? Hold on. Let me get my thing in here. Okay. That means they won going this way, right? That's a 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. All right. So let me hop back over here. So right now, that's the only way that they can win because we didn't set up the rest of the checks. So I'm going to say check diagonally both ways. Okay, but currently we're only checking one. So if this is true, then you just return true. Okay. All right, so now I have it set up to where the only way you can win is by going this way because I haven't really set up the logic yet for anything else. So, and something bad happened. Is winner. Oh, that's right. I changed it to if, no, I don't know what I changed to. Check. Yeah, check if one. And then I have to pass in place, the string that we placed. Okay, let me go ahead and run this. Okay, so we're going to make O win this time. So I'm going to click X over here, O right here, X right here, O right here, X right here, O right there. It knew that O won because that's the only one that I'm checking. Okay, so but if you win, like this game should be stopped, right? This game should be stopped. So we have to think about the logic here. And let's see. So we're going to go back over to here. So they won, we place it down, and we should probably set some flag that we know, hey, the game's over. Like you can't really click. Maybe show the button. Okay, like maybe show the button to play again, so that they can reset the game and play again. And we're going to do that by either making a boolean that we can keep track of, so that we can stop. Like we can just check to see if there's a winner, because we don't want to keep checking this all the time. So we'll have like this is what I'm gonna do. I think this will probably be the easier thing. Come over here and just make a boolean in the private boolean, and the boolean would be game over. I'll go ahead and set the false here. Okay. So what's going to happen is in this do button action, if the game is not over, meaning you're still playing, then and only then are you going to come in here and do all this additional stuff. Okay. So that's the only time that, like, otherwise it's just not going to listen to your click. It's pretty much going to ignore it. So the only time you're going to set this, if game over is going to equal to over here, we're going to set it equal to true if you won, or if there's no winner. Okay. Like if you come over here and you say the turn, like, so the last turn is 8. Okay. So that means if like the 8th turn, you're going to put an O, and then it's going to increment right here to be a 9. So that means if you make it to turn 9, oops, what I put true. If you make it to turn 9, that means you can go ahead and just say, you know what, the game is over. All the spots are taken. Go ahead and set game over to true, and then update this. Go ahead and update this header to just say, so you could just probably just put a straight string in here, and we can just say like game over, no winner. Okay, and we can go ahead and either leave the method or wrap this in else. Up to you. I don't know. I think maybe just leaving the method, like just doing a return right here to leave the method, would be okay. All right, so right now the only way to end the game is to either win it this way. You won. Okay, the game's over, so I can't click anything else, right? Like, it's just, I set that flag, there's nothing else I can do, the game's over. Okay, I don't have a reset anymore, or actually never put in a reset, so I actually have to restart this entire application to run this game again. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have like no winners. Game over, no winner. Okay, so like you made it to the 9th turn and it determined nobody won. So like this is a point, like these are the points where you need to actually, you know, like update the wins, the losses, and the ties. So if you're going to be the AI, then you know that you're always going to go on the odd turn. Okay, so let's go ahead and think about this AI right now. All right, so you get to turn 5, you check to see if there's a winner. Okay, you get to turn 9 and you check to see if the game's over. You make it through all of this here. Okay, then what you're going to do is, if the current turn divided by 2 does not equal 0, that means it's O's turn. The AI's turn. Okay, AI's turn, and what AI is going to do is he's going to put an O down somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just make a method called do AI turn. I don't know if I like the way that looks. We'll say like do turn for AI. Okay, and we'll go ahead and create this method. And essentially what it's going to do, I mean, it's going to have to randomly select a value and just see if it can take that spot. Okay, but I want you to make this smart. Make smart, like it's going to maybe like it checks, like it iterates through the array and checks to see what spots are taken, and maybe even does some does something intelligent, like tries to block X from winning. Okay, so that's where you're gonna, that's what you're gonna do. I'm gonna say like to do make smart. Okay, but in the meantime, AI is dumb. Okay, and by dumb, what it's gonna do it's basically just gonna randomly, like, we'll just take our Tic Tac Toe board, and then we're gonna just randomly choose a row and a column, and then we're going to, well, I guess I need to choose one first. Okay, so I need an integer between, so I'm like, I'll just like, we'll make an int here, and I'll just do like math random. Okay, so I'm gonna do math random, and I'm gonna go to random, and I'm gonna multiply math random by 3, and casting it to an int will give me 0 through 2 for the column, 0 through 2 for the row. Now I don't know if those spots are actually taken. I'm just like randomly choosing a row and a column, and I'm gonna just, I think I could just call click. It doesn't look like there's a click method, but I actually just Googled this really quick, and there's a fire. Okay. Oh dang, there's a fire with an event. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. Okay, I think that should trigger what button got clicked, but the fire will call. Okay, let's just see what happens. So every time it's O's turn, we're gonna fire off this AI, and it's gonna be a really dumb AI, and just randomly pick buttons. It's not like it's gonna even like pick buttons that already been selected, but luckily we're gonna get blocked here. Oh dang, hold on. So I think about this now. Okay, we're gonna have to put some logic in here to where if the button spot is taken, because the AA is gonna be dumb. Okay. So instead of returning here, which we should probably return in this method, but we're gonna say like, okay, well, if the turn divided by 2 does not equal 0, that means it's the AI's turn. And then what we're gonna do is, like, this is a recursive method right now. So what we're gonna do is call do AI turn again, right? So like it's gonna keep taking turns until it clicks a button that it can take a spot. Okay, so I'm just kind of curious to see how many times this gets invoked. So every time I click the button, I just want to print something out to the console, and I'm gonna say do button action. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. And let me open up my console so I can see. All right, so X goes, O went. So O actually chose a spot in the first time, right? So like this do action here was from when I clicked, and the O was from when, or this do action was from the O clicked. I'm gonna click again. Okay, so it only took one, like it chose a spot that was not taken. So I'm gonna click again. Okay, if you saw that, like, I don't know if you saw that, but actually it took multiple tries for O to set a spot. Click here. Okay, and like, let's see how many turns it takes. Dang, well, I'm not really counting the turns, but what I can do is delete what's in the logs and then come back over here, click this, and oh, it did it on the first time. What the heck? That was uneventful. All right. But anyways, like, it's just randomly choosing, O's just randomly choosing like what spot to take. That's what our AI is doing, but I want you to make it a little smarter. Okay, but first gotta get this game working, get the play again right here working to where you reset the game. I want you to if there's no winner, or like there's a winner or the game's over, like you show the play again, they click it, like this information should be updated as well. But like the logic is there right now. Okay, so we're still clicking this button, it's still doing the action, but it's not really doing anything for us. Okay, so let's see, did I miss anything else that I want to talk about? Oh, you know what will be kind of cool is like maybe put some type of delay on when O goes, because like as soon as you click it, like O goes right away. So what we can do is on this turn right here, like when A takes his very first attempt, we can like kick off a thread to where we actually sleep for a little bit. Dang, but I forgot how to do this. Okay, I think we're gonna make the thread sleep for, I don't know, let's say, so it's in milliseconds. So 1,000 is 1 second. So we'll make it sleep for 5 seconds, but do it to 5,000. Is that right? Yeah. All right. And this is upset. Let me see. Why are you upset? It wants me to wrap this in a try catch. Oh, dang. Wait, I'm going to do Control Z. Okay, let's see if this works. So pretty much we're going to make this thread sleep, and then we're going to take this turn. All right, so X. What the heck? I didn't like how that happened. It took a long time to place. Wait. That wasn't what I expected to happen. All right, so I want to make this delay so that it looks like the O is taking some time to make his decision. I just kind of Googled and did some research, and with JavaFX, if you want to do any updates to the GUI, then you have to actually put it on the GUI thread. So I'm going to go ahead and change what I'm doing here. Instead of using the thread to sleep, because it looked like it was just, as soon as it reached that point, it just made everything sleep, and the GUI was getting updated on that thread that we slept, made it sleep. So that's why the X didn't update. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the runnable class, and I'm just going to make a runnable. It's going to be a new runnable. And inside of the run, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use platform.runLater. And this is something we have to use when we're using JavaFX so that it's ran on the FX thread. I'm going to go ahead and use this lambda expression. And inside of this lambda is where I'm going to do the do later. Or not do later, but do AI turn. Okay, do turn for AI. Okay, so I have this runnable, okay, and it's essentially going to run that method. But then what I'm going to use is something called the scheduled executor service, and I'll just call it service, and it's going to equal to executors, and then new single thread scheduled executor. I don't know why there's two. That's confusing me. All right. Then I'm going to say service.schedule. I'm going to pass in my runnable, and then I'm going to set how long I want it to delay. I'm just going to go with 2 seconds for now. And then my time unit, I'm going to say my time in seconds. So I'm going to delay 2 seconds. Maybe let's do milliseconds. Okay, if it's milliseconds, then I'll set this to 1,500, and that should be 1.5 seconds. So let's go ahead and run this. So now when I press X, what will happen 1.5 seconds later? I don't know if that's too long of a delay. Okay. Let's just change it to 1 second. Okay, I think 1 second, I don't know. It just feels, like the right speed. You can mess with that if you want. I'm not requiring you to know anything about this. I just felt like it just would feel nicer if the AI took some time. Okay, so what you're going to do for your homework is you're going to finish this program. Okay, there's a lot that still needs to happen for this. Okay, so this game is actually really generic right now. Um, so, I mean, I've done a lot, but what you need to do is you need to determine, like, do the checks for a winner. Oh, dang, I should probably block. So, I don't know if you guys saw that, but, like, I guess what I should do is block while I'm, like while the AI is running in the background. Yeah, I should probably do that. So like while the AI is running, like I can't really click anything. Let me just add that really quick because that's gonna bother me. Okay, so I'm just gonna make a flag, and I'm gonna come up over here, and I'm gonna put like, like boolean. I'm gonna put is AI AI thinking false. Okay, so when it's the AI's turn, where was this? I'm so lost right now. Okay, so inside of here, it's the AI's turn, but I make it runnable so it can be delayed. So I know it's the AI's turn at this moment. So I'm going to say AI is thinking to true. Okay. And what this is going to do is, what can I do with this? I'll set it to true. And then it's going to do a click. Okay. So basically, when I come over here and I do button click, and if the button is taken, then I'm going to return. But if it's not taken and it's X's turn, I'm going to place. Okay, but then maybe like right here, I'll just say like, okay, well, if AI thinking, if that's true, then return. Okay, I'm gonna exit the method. Okay, but then after the AI has gone, okay, right here, AI thinking would be false. All right, I think that should work. Let's try this. Okay, so I'm not the AI. I click, AI is thinking, click, dang it. Oh, because I clicked and it was an O when I put it on the X. I gotta be a little smarter. Okay, so I guess I can move everything over here. I don't know. This delays seems like it's more trouble than it's worth. But I think what I'm gonna do is, okay, so you take your turn, you come over here, you try to set, and you try to fire. Okay, maybe like right before here, I say AI thinking to false because it's done thinking. Like it's done with it's pretty much done with its delay. Like the delay is over, I guess, So then at that point, I can just like I can like kind of let go of that and keep it from blocking things. So then what I can do is I don't need this anymore. I do need to set it true here. And instead of setting it true over here, only for the X, or was it like that was actually a bad idea? If came that over and AI not thinking. All right. So let's see if this alleviates the problem. All right. So, okay, perfect. So what happened was now when I click, AI is thinking and I can't click within that second. So click and I click this. So like I only was able to place it once the AI decided where he's going to place his character. All right, so what I want you guys to do is finish this logic, the logic for determining if there's a winner. Then you're going to do some logic for updating, and then you're going to do some logic for showing if you want to play again. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put like some more comments in this code. So I tell you like where you need to like put your information. The other thing I want you to do is change this GUI, like update some of the fonts. It's kind of like maybe change the colors, like just kind of play with the GUI stuff a little bit to kind of make it your own. All right, and I'll put up the requirements for that and the requirements of like what I expect you to do, and I'll get that up as soon as possible. So look for that on Canvas, and it should be actually by the time this video is up, it should be up on Canvas.